Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
All right, first up we found an interview with Dee Bradley Baker, a.k.a. All the Clones. What, he can say that. If Palpatine can say he's all the Sith, I don't think there's a problem with Dee Bradley Baker saying he's all the clones.
He's more all the clones than Palpatine was all the Sith.
I think it's a very interesting interview. It kind of gets into his emotions behind things, maybe a little bit of what's to come, without spoilers so much this time.
He's had so much work over the years because of these clones, and now it feels like their story might be coming to an end. So
yeah,
it's got to be a little emotional for him to maybe think, I could be getting done with this soon.
I mean, on that note, he says about being almost finished with his work here. I'm excited, I'm gratified, I'm thrilled, really. I'm also a little bit sad, but mostly thrilled to see this brought in for a landing, and mostly because I can't wait to hear fans' reactions to how much they're going to love it and how good this is. If you love The Bad Batch, and if you love Star Wars, this is as good as that gets. And it's such a beautiful job done by the executive producers, Brad and Jen and Dave, and everyone involved in this, Michelle, the voice actress of Omega. It's been the privilege of a lifetime of my career to be involved with this. I must say that's how I feel.
Well, he certainly said how he feels.
Very well, honestly.
It's funny how many characters in Star Wars he is, how big of a impact all these characters have had, all the clones have had, how big this story is, and that it's coming to this probably final culmination. And I think there's still a lot of people in the fandom who really don't even
don't know
who he is so much. He's not like the most... I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, he should be more well-known, I feel.
He should be, because he's played such a big part in Star Wars history.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the Clone Wars, obviously, are a huge, part of Star Wars, and he is all the clones. I mean, we also have to give credit to Tamora Morrison, who has kind of played some clones, too.
He's also all
a little
clones.
Bit, yes. Not as much.
He's the face.
Yeah, he's the,
the OG
live
voice,
action face and OG voice and all that. But, like, Dee Bradley has done so much, and I feel like he deserves even more credit for what he has done with these characters. I mean, he really made the clones characters. I think he's just as responsible as the writing in some ways.
I mean, at the end of Season 2, we had the shocking death of Tech sacrificing himself for the rest of the team, which is a bit surprising because, I mean, this is a team of soldiers who get out of these crazy, impossible situations, and we lost one because the situation was that dire.
And he's probably going to stay dead, right?
Let me talk. Just a
right?
little. Baker, he's heard a lot from viewers since then.
I'm sure.
Question, of course, about his character because they made you fall in love with Tech in Season 2.
Yep, that seemed to be the goal, yeah.
Well, what Dee says is, I've been through a lot of conventions over the past year, and fans are deeply befret and stricken and holding out hope. I tell them it's a life well lived. It's a soldier's life that is admirable and heroic in all the best sense. A heroic sacrifice is the end that any soldier of a clone army would wish for. They're trained to fight, and they're trained to win and work together and problem solve and to do the right thing. And Tech does all those things in his final gesture that keeps the mission alive and saves his colleagues, his friends, his family. I couldn't wish the fellow any more. For me personally and everyone else, yes, I want him to live longer, but I wouldn't want to dull the gesture of his final act of heroism.
Hey, someone who gets it.
He gets it!
He gets what it means to...
He's been telling fans to get it!
Yeah.
Like, don't expect pop-up Tech to show up, because
I hope that
his death meant something.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Like, he gets it. He gets that he he sacrificed himself for his team, and to bring him back cheapens the sacrifice.
It does.
As we said, Tech is great, especially in Season 2.
Especially.
Probably my favorite Bad Batch member, if we don't count Crosshair, who has some exceptional character moments and episodes and all that. But he gets it. Like, you don't bring him back. You ruined what you did if you bring him back.
Exactly. Baker goes on to say, the biggest predicament that Omega and Crosshair are in the clutches of the diabolical scientist Dr. Royce Hemlock and his assistant Amiri. It's a question of what are they going to do to Omega, and will Crosshair survive this? There's nothing good going on there. The clones are very much expendable in the eyes of the Empire. There are a lot of fans who are interested in the epiphany that Crosshair had in Season 2, and rightly so. It is beautifully written and very compelling story. I think.
No, it's like I said, Tech is, of the members who stayed members, I think he was so far, or has so far, been handled the best. But overall, Crosshair has been handled extremely well. He's the most fascinating, and you're the one. He's the wild card. You're like, well, what is is he going to get away? Probably. How does he interact with the Bad Batch again? His friends, his brothers. There's so many questions, interesting questions around him.
Dee Bradley Baker's favorite clone is Crosshair.
Wow.
He says it's because of he's got such a complex character, and he's got so many layers, and he wants that to be reflected in his performance. And I think it's come across really well.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. He also has perhaps the most different voice. Oh, Wrecker probably. They all the Bad Batch do, but Crosshair's voice is so sinister.
I don't know. It's very emotional. His voice.
Something about it just feels different from all the other clones.
Mm-hmm. But what Dee says is he is broken. I mean, he is changed. He's turned, but he's broken. He's imprisoned, and he's down about as far as that guy can get. And so that's a very different situation for Crosshair. He's no longer a free agent. He's not free. He's a prisoner and also an experimental subject. He's at the mercy of this machine that he miscalculated to serve at the end of Season 1 and then through Season 2. Until he finally realized what the situation was. So the tone and pace of his character, the energy of his character, is a very different one. It's one of a beaten man and one who also harbors a lot of regrets and lacks hope and lacks a path forward. And that's a very different creature from what we've seen him previously.
Yeah, previously he kind of starts very firm in his belief that, he's a good soldier following orders. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of, I don't really have any other options, right? So I guess I'm just going to keep following orders, to getting pushed over the edge, seeing what the Empire thinks of the clones and how they treat them like property, and be like, nah, I can't do this.
Yeah, and I like how they've paired him up with Omega, who is pretty much his polar opposite, with her jolly optimism and the way that she can try and see the good in everything and think there's always a way out of a situation. And then you're pairing him up with Crosshair, who is as low as he's ever going to get, we think.
Pointed out,
Yeah, so I mean, the final season is coming. There's emotions. Baker, he's confident that the season's going to deliver.
Good.
He says,
I'm confident too.
He says the third season really covers everything. I've got to say, having seen it now, that it is the best of the 3 seasons and the most satisfying on all levels of this storytelling that is the best Star Wars can be. I'm incredibly proud of it and really impressed. It's so beautiful, and it's moving, and it's meaningful. It also goes in some directions that I think fans will not expect, and that will be very welcome and memorable in a very enduring way.
Well, that's fingers crossed that it delivers all that. That's quite
That's a tall order.
Yeah.
But let's go for it. Let's shoot for the moon here.
I think it will. I think it's been set up, and as long as they don't try to inject too much filler, too much, oh, look, Asajj Ventress came back for no reason. Too many things like that. I think we're going to be just fine.
All right. Well, let's move into another article I found. Apparently, Respawn Entertainment, yes, the Respawn who makes the Jedi games.
Yep.
Fallen Survivor.
Yep.
Apparently, there have been rumors swirling around that they're making a first-person shooter that is, separate from their Jedi franchise that's going to be centered around a Mandalorian.
A Mandalorian or the Mandalorian?
All right, so...
Or a different Mandalorian.
A Mandalorian. This is coming from Insider Gaming.
Okay.
The website is reporting that the game is going to allow a player to control a Mandalorian bounty hunter capturing bounties, dead or alive, for credits during the reign of the Empire at its peak.
Huh.
They also point out it's unclear who the Mandalorian will be at this point.
I can think of one who...
I know. They're saying maybe it's Din, but Din would be younger.
I wasn't thinking Din. I was thinking one who is a Mandalorian, isn't a Mandalorian. Depends on who you ask about that.
But he is a Mandalorian.
Boba? Boba's not a Mandalorian.
He is a Mandalorian. He's a clone of a Mandalorian, which makes him a Mandalorian.
That's not how that works, exactly. Not with the Mandalorians.
He kind of follows the creeds in his own way. He follows a...
Would you follow a creed your own way? You're not following.
Whatever. They're also saying maybe it could be Bo-Katan, or maybe a completely new character.
Bo-Katan's not a bounty hunter.
No, she's not.
And especially during this time.
But Insider Gaming doesn't know that.
No, that's when you know somebody who suggested Bo-Katan would be a bounty hunter during the reign of the Empire.
It could be almost anyone, maybe, from the coven that Din was
a part of. Paz Vizsla, right on, right?
Paz, the bounty hunter. I'm hoping for Boba. Makes the most sense.
I think Boba makes the most sense. Or a very young Din Djarin, I suppose, is possible. He wouldn't be, like, very young.
Very enough.
No, not really.
No, he'd be in his 20s somewhere.
No, not even necessarily that. He's, like, in his 40s. I mean, if we're going on Pedro Pascal's age, like, he's in his 40s.
We don't go by character,
he would have been,
like, actor
like
age.
7 or 8 in the Clone Wars when we see... It's hard to...
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say, yeah.
Yeah. But they reported that this is indeed going to be a Star Wars game, and it's going to focus, in gameplay terms, on mobility and style. Okay. Playing a Mandalorian with a jetpack would allow for the verticality and stylish wall running, maybe, that Respawn is famous for.
I'm terrible with the wall running.
It's also reported the game will not be open world. It's going to have linear levels on a variety of different planets in the Star Wars galaxy. So it's going to be a singular story that you kind of go through.
Okay.
It's more similar to their Jedi series, which is one story, but they kind of open that up quite a bit.
Yeah, the second one was a little more non-linear.
I mean, there's no release date or anything for this. It's supposed to be a long way away, like at least a year or two, if not longer. But it's interesting.
Is this coming before the final game in the
could even be
Jedi series?
Be multiplayer. We don't even know.
They don't do that couch co-op stuff anymore. So
online
sad.
Multiplayer.
I know. I'm talking couch co-op because
we don't know anything about any sort of when this would come out, or if this would come out alongside or before or after the last of the Jedi trilogy.
Yeah.
No, we have no details on that. I mean, usually a big company like this would have multiple products going on at once, so we don't know. We don't know. We have no idea how much work has even been put into this.
Yeah, they might not even know who the Mandalorian is yet. That's why they're so
exactly.
Like,
it's Cal.
It's a Mandalorian.
It's Cal Kestis.
It's
his friend Bodhi.
Oh, jeez. I don't think it's Bodhi. Bodhi wasn't a Mandalorian either. It was Bode.
Bode.
Yes, now you got me saying Bodhi.
Bodhi.
No. It's Grogu.
It's Marin.
Because he's a Mandalorian. Marin? What? No.
Marin put on a helmet for a week and wanted to be a Mandalorian.
No.
During the peak of the... no?
No.
No.
Just no.
Just crush all my dreams. Why not?
I don't know that was a dream. That was...
You don't know anything.
Well, I know that's all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. What Mandalorian would you like to see in this game? And so, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.